This is a Kentucky beef restaurant. Back in the 1960s, it was Kentucky Fried Chicken's way of trying to make more money. And here is a matchbook, Kentucky roast beef. Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. And I looked on the internet to try to get a little information on the sister company to Kentucky Fried Chicken called Kentucky Roast Beef. Colonel Sanders met John Y. Brown Jr., a young encyclopedia salesman, and Brown wanted to buy the company. Lacking sufficient funds himself, Brown convinced the financier, John C. Massey, to provide 60% of the acquisition capital and provide a major contribution himself, with smaller contributions from franchise holder Pete Harmon and company officials Lee Cummings and Harlan Adams. 1967, KFC had become the sixth largest restaurant chain in the U.S. by sales volume, and 30% of sales were takeout. Brown felt the company had to expand quickly, or else emerging rivals such as Church's Chicken would steal the company's lead. 863 outlets were opened in 1968. The company's growth pushed its stock value to stratospheric levels, according to Reuters, and in 1969 it was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Meanwhile, KFC entered into ventures with other companies. Brown believed that the Colonel Sanders brand could be used to market anything, and launched the Kentucky Roast Beef restaurant chain and Colonel Sanders Inns motels. The two ventures quickly failed, although the roast beef chain had 100 outlets by 1970. That same year, KFC entered a joint venture with the California-based fish and chips chain H. Salt Esquire, which provided more successful but was sold off in 1980. So that's what little information I was able to get on that. Colonel Sanders sold his business in 1964 for $2 million, and after he sold it, the people that bought it had rights to his logo, the Colonel Sanders name, so he couldn't start under any other future businesses under the Colonel Sanders name, but they could, and that's why they came up with that Kentucky Roast Beef and the Colonel Sanders. What was it called again? The Colonel Sanders Inns. Yeah, Colonel Sanders Inns. And that was what little I was able to get on this, but I thought it was pretty interesting. I had never known that KFC had actually had a roast beef restaurant for a while. The roast beef places I remember Roy Rogers. That was big on the East Coast. There are still a few around. Of course, you got Arby's all over the place. Those are the two roast beef places that I really am familiar with. And I'm sure there's been others as well, but that was what I was able to get on Kentucky Roast Beef. Like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.